From MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esther Lynn welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to us all. Thank you for joining us once again live on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel, or if you're listening after the fact, we appreciate you. As Esther said, I am Mike Heck, and back with another Q&A edition again, where I'm trying to fine-tune my editing skills to be able to do the actual matchups again. I would say probably after UFC 321, right around that range. Maybe it'll definitely happen before UFC 322. We'll be back with matchups and the points and the rounds and all that fun stuff, but there's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened this week as we get ready for UFC Vancouver. There was some news that just dropped not that long ago that we're going to get into immediately. And joining me to get into that news and much more is Mr. No Gray Area, the hot take kid. He is the climber of all climbers and the golfer of all golfers as well. The one and only Jed Bashu from MMAfighting.com. Hello, Jed. How are we doing on this Thursday?
Worse now that I have the news. You broke that news to me just moments ago. About Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman 3. I guess that's a thing that's happening in the year of our Lord 2025.
It is. And I think we should probably just go ahead and start there, because truth be told, I have like a decent relationship with MVP, and they had teased this announcement that was going to drop around noontime. It obviously went a little bit earlier. So typically I reach out and they give me a little bit of a heads up of what the announcement is going to be. And then I'll pre-write it, and then we wait for them to announce, and then we put it out there. And usually the announcements are, some are interesting. One was like a Chris Avila fight, and I like Chris Avila. And I was thinking, with this announcement, if it's a Chris Avila fight, I'm going to be very disappointed. No disrespect to Chris, but when I got the release a couple of hours ago, I was like, what? This I did not see coming from a mile away. So yes, November 14th, Miami, Florida, the main card opener for the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis event at Kaseya Center. The opening bout will be a heavyweight boxing match, which is contested. Both fighters cannot weigh any more than 205 pounds. The third meeting between Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. Anderson Silva, 50 years of age now. Chris Weidman, 41, retired from MMA in December of this past year after a loss to Eric Anders. This is the thing, Jed. Like, I know you sort of touched on, I was doing a little worse now that you got the news, but now that you see it, you understand what this is. 6 rounds. Your thoughts on it, your reaction now that this is a thing that is happening, and it is going to be the thing that wets the whistle, so to speak, for the Netflix subscribers preparing to watch Jake Paul versus Tank Davis.
This isn't good. It might not be bad, so I guess there's that. You said something off air, and now I'm gonna go look into this. Because are you aware? Are the fans, are the viewers, is MVP aware that Anderson Silva is 50 years old? And that Chris Weidman is 40, 41, something 41. Like that. Old men aren't supposed to box. I guess it's better that if they're going to box, they box each other and not somebody who's going to do real harm to them. I don't really know who this is for. This is the gross part of combat sports, like in full display, full plumage of the grossness of combat sports, the inability of aging stars to let go and walk away, the sort of crass consumerism of, did my camera just drop? That's incredible.
It was very funny.
Boom. Well, that's because apparently I was on my FaceTime cam and not my webcam. But this is all the bad parts of MMA, right? Old guys who should walk away but won't or can't. Promotions putting on fights well past when they probably should be acceptable. People taking unnecessary damage for certainly not enough money. I'm sure they'll get paid well, but well enough to cut off the years of their lives that they're going to lose in this. I just hope everybody leaves okay. And like the best case scenario is this is Anderson Tito in the box, like just something silly that's done and nobody gets seriously injured. But I am not looking forward to this undercard fight. This is one of the rare occasions where I will be looking at a Jake Paul fight because I am more interested in the main event than I am in the stuff that comes before it.
I don't know how just to sort of like put it into context. Anderson Silva boxed Jake Paul at the age of 47. Jake Paul boxed Mike Tyson at the age of
None of these were good.
The age of 58. I didn't hate the Silva one because that was actually like a pretty competitive fight. And a lot of people thought Anderson was going to win, even though he was 47 at the time. So it's not like Anderson's taken like a ton of damage over the past 5 years or so. The last time he fought was basically a sparring match with Chael Sonnen in Brazil. And Weidman isn't going to hurt him. And, you know, there is a world where Anderson can crack Chris. But I don't know if like anyone's going down for the count or anything like that. So I get it. I was stunned by it. I did not see this coming from a mile away. I really didn't. So I will be there in Miami for that fight. I'm going to say that we're going to feel a little bit nostalgic about it. Maybe sad. I don't know. But I don't know if I've actually like digested this just yet because I'm still stunned by finding out it was actually a thing.
I definitely haven't digested it, but here's the thing. What's the good outcome? Like what is the best outcome? Because like 1 in 100 is even semi-positive. And I don't even know like what is a good outcome. There's not a world where we're going to get like a fight of the year. And even if we somehow did, that's probably bad. It would likely be bad if they went to war if the 50-year-old and the 41-year-old went to war for however many rounds it's going to be, 6 rounds or whatever. So like the fight is likely not to be competitive one way or the other, I would guess. And so then it's not compelling as a fight, almost assuredly. There's very limited ways that it is a compelling fight, especially when the whole time I'll just be like, really hope nobody dies in there. Be great if nobody died in there. So there's all downside and no upside other than we get to talk about it. And these are very famous people who have a storied rivalry. But like I said this at the Tyson and Jake Paul thing, and this is not as bad as that. I want to be really clear about this. This is certainly not as bad as Tyson Jake Paul. That fight should never have occurred. But in the lead up and in the aftermath and in the current of it, I said this and I mean it very seriously. You're rolling bad dice here. This is how people get hurt when you put a 50-year-old into a boxing match. Like, it's just, I don't know who this is for. And it's certainly not for me. And I am not happy that it is happening.
Understandable response to this. So what's the best outcome? They just go in there and move around for 6 rounds.
But that's the thing. The best outcome is that they have the Chael Sonnen sparring match. That's not fun to watch. It's just like that is really just trying to like scratch the basest nostalgia itch of like, I just want to see some guys I like in a ring. And which I guess, you know, whatever floats your boat. But man, what if we just didn't do this?
I mean, I was there for Silva knocking out Tito. So maybe my presence in the building will make sure that this isn't that, or I don't know. That whole week was crazy because Tito was supposed to make like 195 or something, and there was zero chance that was happening. So yeah, we'll see. But that is a thing that is happening November 14th. What a weekend that's going to be. Holy shit.
I guess the one, and this isn't a saving grace to it. The thing that also is weird is like I am less concerned about grievous injury in this fight, just because like Chris Weidman's not that old, and he has looked so much worse than Anderson in recent combat efforts that like at least the numbers are correct in that regard. Like it is unlikely that somebody gets seriously hurt. Not impossible. It's combat sports, and one of these dudes is pushing senior citizenship, so it's not that bad in that regard. But it's just a baseline of like I don't know how this ends up good. It can just end up not awful. So there's not a lot of, there is a low ceiling and a low floor, just the lowest floor imaginable with not much ceiling, and that's not, in my mind, how you should book things.
I'm looking at the release right now. I don't think this is an exhibition. Like I think it's a legit fight. So
Sure.
Yeah. So now I've decided that the best case scenario, at least for me, is that it's not Silva Chael boxing. No one gets hurt. It's somewhat fun, and Anderson Silva wins and then doesn't fight again. He extracts.
I don't know how he'll not fight again. Even at the time of his like UFC retirement, when it was very clear that he was not retiring, but the UFC was making him, and he was like, "I'm not done." Anderson does not seem to be capable of walking away. And he's a grown man and he can do that. This is his life and he gets to live with those choices. But Anderson seems perhaps the most likely to be forced out of combat sports of any fighter I've ever seen. Because he's 50 and he's still going, you know?
If Chris Weidman wins, could that potentially set up Jake Paul versus Chris Weidman?
I mean, it could. Probably wouldn't. But it would be undeniably funny because this is a matchup made for Anderson to get revenge. It's when Tito fought Chuck the third time, and it was like, Tito is going to beat Chuck because Chuck is a shell of himself. And I don't think Anderson will have the same sort of like, Tito was real weird about that. Like Tito treated that as if it was meaningful, as if it mattered and was real. And I do not believe Anderson will like cry afterwards because he's finally slayed the Chris Weidman dragon. But like, it's the same sort of setup that's at play here. This is a fight for Anderson that they think they can sell.
Yeah, the two biggest examples of things like that is one, Tito Chuck and the fight nobody cared about, and the other one was when Vitor Belfort fought Evander Holyfield, and he celebrated like he just won an Olympic gold medal, and then we see where his career went from there. Pretty much nowhere. So pretty crazy stuff. But yes, November 14th, the day before UFC 322. So that's gonna be a very busy weekend in the world.
That's UGA Texas weekend too, baby.
And it's UGA Texas.
I was gonna go to that, and then I was told I could not.
You can't go to UGA Texas. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bad weekend. That's a tough weekend.
Yeah. I would like to. I was like, man, I'm trying to. Like, if they've got tickets, and I was told to no in certain terms. Like, yeah, you can't do that. I was like, okay, fine. So we're doing a watch party.
Yay! Well, at least we're only doing one this time. We won't be able to do two back to back like we did last year.
Yeah, if that game's a night game, the watch party is going to have some overlap with my phone and the Texas Georgia game.
Oh, so it's going to be tremendous.
Be prepared for that.
It's got to be tremendous. All right, time to go to you guys. Time to answer your questions. Let's get after it. There's lots of things to talk about. So we'll start here. Jed. You were off gallivanting on the golf course when this news broke.
Sort of.
What do you think of Merab trying to go for a fourth title defense in the calendar year? I like Merab, but I think it's a gamble. Yes, Merab will be defending his bantamweight title in the main event of UFC 323, December 6th in Las Vegas, in a rematch against Petr Yan. Your thoughts on this, and is this a risk?
So I do think it's a risk. I think it's a calculated risk, and I think it's a really good decision by Merab. As I thought about it, because my initial reaction was like, well, he's probably going to win anyway. We saw the first Petr Yan fight. I know that there's a delta between those two. Things can change. But of the two, I would say Merab has improved more since their first matchup, and that fight was not competitive. And so, like, sure. And this is also a thing he'd been calling for, he had been planning for. He is, I don't think he blew up immediately after. He clearly is. This was all intentional. And so I think that he's pretty mitigated for a lot of the risk here. There's always risk. When you fight this frequently, you're going to have a bad day more often than not. It's harder to, fighters talk all the time about scheduling their peaks. It's harder to do that when you are fighting this frequently. I mean, Alex Pereira, the most recent obvious example of that, right? But throughout history, we've seen this. Like, that was kind of the knock on Donald Cerrone. It was like, buddy, you fight too often to be a champion, because you can't peak 5 times a year. It's very, very difficult to get your body in that spot. Merab obviously is a soon to be an all-time great. I think this is smart, though, for a number of reasons. Yes, there's the risk. I would say he is more likely to lose to Petr Yan under these circumstances than if he waited and they fought in February with the full camp, et cetera, et cetera. But I still don't think he's going to lose. More to the point, though, if he does lose, there is now this baked-in excuse, right? He's losing to a guy he already dominantly beat, so immediate trilogy is happening, right? So, like, even a loss here isn't cataclysmic. He loses, his next fight is just another title fight. Again, people will write it off more than they would if he had a full camp. Like, if they fought in February and Petr Yan beats him, people would be like, wow, Petr Yan made great adjustments, blah, blah, blah. They fight now, Merab has the baked in, okay, there's a reason nobody's ever defended about 4 times in 1 year. Probably shouldn't do that. So he's got some cushion for the bad outcome here. And I do think the good outcome is more likely anyway. And for him, I mean, Merab is doing the thing. Not insofar as he's still not an exciting fighter. And he's not, and we can debate that. And you can like him. I'm not saying don't be a fan of Merab. He is not an exciting fighter 8 times out of 10, right? He's never gonna be. That's just sort of part and parcel to the skill set, but he's doing the other parts to building stardom. Can you hear that outside my house right now?
Oh, absolutely. I thought I thought Leatherface was about to chop you up.
I mean, I obviously see him. He sees me, but buddy, he won't be deterred. He's just going to power on through. He should be done at least immediately next to me in just a moment. So that's helpful. But as I was saying, Merab, he's not exciting, so he doesn't have that part of stardom down. But the other thing that I talk about a lot with stardom, and this is a thing that I'd said once and kind of believed, and over the years, I think that it's just the most true thing. The way to be a star is to fight a lot, to be on screen a lot, so people know who you are. Because Merab will have fought 4 times this year, 4 title defenses, doing a thing nobody's ever done before. And that just makes you more known. If every other weekend, every other month, there's a pay-per-view with your name on it, that's super helpful to getting over. He has gotten over with Dana White. Dana White at Contender Series was like, I used to not really like Merab, but I've warmed up to him a lot because he's just fought 4 times this year, So I think it's riskier than if he had waited. I think it's a calculated risk, and I think it's ultimately a really good decision on his part for his career. Because one more thing, the other thing that I mentioned at various times is, like, when you're in the sweet spot, you need to hammer down, because it's much harder to defend a title 6 times over 4-5 years, right, than it is to defend a title 6 times in 2 years, because, like, longevity is not just fights, but also time. There's more time for fighters to adjust to you, to develop around your skill set as champion. And so if you can be an Alex Pereira and come in and just knock them out, suddenly you can have a good title reign. And unlike, Jose Aldo was champion for a decade and he got 9 title defenses. That's pretty hard to do. Much easier to be like, oh, I can knock out 4 while I'm at my peak. Now, if I just taper back, I can still get to 5, 6, 7 over the next 3 or 4 years. I think this is a really smart decision on his part.
if he wins, and I expect him to win, I know Yan wasn't, I believe Yan when he says that he wasn't, I don't know. Usually when a fighter says I was 30% or 50%, you're probably like closer to 70. That's just sort of the law of averages. And I believe that Yan was not 100% or even relatively close to it. But I still believe that Merab will win this fight, and probably somewhat convincingly. If Merab does win, is this the greatest year in UFC history for a single fighter?
Yeah. Look, if Merab wins, this is right up there with John Jones and Shogun Rua as the best single year in the history of the sport.
Is it number one though?
I don't know if it, I mean, it's number one in, I think it is number one in UFC. Probably is just number one.
The Shogun year, I understand.
There's no wrong way to view it. If you want to say it's number one, I think that's fine, because you can critique some of the Merab stuff the same way you can critique or nitpick any of these, right? The fact that Merab never was close to losing, but I don't think he's finishing Petr Yan, so he'll have one finish in that year. It's just like, okay, that's a nitpick. It's sort of it's your choice, your flavor of greatness, dominance, but it is one of the 3 or 4 greatest years in the history of the sport. It is a remarkable achievement that I honestly don't think will ever be beaten. That's the other thing. Like, Merab has a chance to make history, and to make history in a way that I do not believe is possible to beat. I think maybe like 4 is the max. It is the maximum number. There have only been like 6 fighters who've ever fought 5 times in a year in the UFC. Nobody's done it as a champion. And there's a reason, like, that is, so 4 title fights in a year, 4 title defenses would set the record, and only in perfect circumstances could somebody tie him. Because this has also been perfect circumstances for Merab. He fought in January. If you're going to do something like this, you have to fight in January, you have to fight in December, and you got to slot 2 more in the middle of the year. He managed it, and credit to him, right? Like, that's full on for him. But then you all, even outside of the getting 4 title fights in one year, you got to win them all. So, like, I don't know that anybody would ever tie it. I would bet almost anything you want, nobody would ever surpass that and get 5. And so he will have a historical record that will live forever. And so it's an incredible accomplishment if he does it. If he does it, there is zero debate about Fighter of the Year. Quite frankly, I think he has won it already. Credit to Jack Della Maddalena if he beats Islam, or Islam Makhachev if he beats Jack Della Maddalena. You could make the argument if Merab loses and either of those men. Did Topuria fight twice this year or just the once?
Just the once.
Then yeah, he's out. He's not eligible for it. So yeah, like it's basically a 2-horse race, and I think Merab is well ahead at this point in time. If the winner of Islam versus Jack has a case, but they don't have a case. If Merab wins in December, it's over. We don't need to debate this. It should be unanimous.
If Merab loses, and I mean, JDM or Islam, there's probably a case for both, but I think it's probably a somewhat better case for JDM since he won the belt and then he beat the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Interesting.
Where would Zhang Wei Li be if she beat Valentina? She would have to be on that list, right? Beat Tatiana Suarez and then goes up and wins a second belt against Valentina.
Interesting. So I actually view it the other way. I think if Jack winning, he would not pass him. Great year.
Even if Merab loses in December?
Yeah. Even if Merab loses in December, I'm not sure he passed it. It's open. We're open to the conversation. But like the problem is, realistically, Jack won the belt and defended it. And sure, it was against the best pound for pound fighter in the world. That guy's also smaller than him. If Islam wins, then Islam defended it, set the lightweight title defense record, and then won a belt in a second division, asserted himself as the best fighter in the world, one of the 14 best fighters of all time. Like if Islam wins, I think he has a much better case to pass him. I had not considered Zhang Weili because I just forget about women's MMA because it doesn't happen much anymore. 100%. She is basically in the exact same boat as Makhachev. Like beating Tatiana Suarez solidified her as the best strawweight of all time. And if she beats Valentina Shevchenko, that's such a good argument that if she beats Val, she's in fact the fighter of the year regardless. Because while Islam is beating Jack, who's a valid and true welterweight champion, Zhang is beating arguably the greatest women's fighter of all time to establish herself as arguably the greatest women's fighter of all time as a better year. If Zhang wins, I'll have to really debate that. Probably Merab's 4 fights, if he wins them all, are enough to edge him out there, but that's a very competitive argument.
Yeah. I think if Merab loses and Zhang wins,
if Merab loses and Zhang wins, Zhang's definitely ahead of him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Our friend Main Card Minute, Luke. What's up, buddy? Which of these dogs do you think is the best chance to win on Saturday? Kevin Holland or Marlon Chito Vera? Let me pull up the odds currently, according to our friends at FanDuel. Kevin Holland still got minus money on him.
It depends on your book. You could find him. I found him at plus money earlier in the week.
Cheeto is
the fight's basically even money on Kevin.
Plus
minus 120 thing.
Plus 106. Okay.
Yeah, depends on the book. He's around even money with, Mike getting minus 120-ish or so.
Who has the best chance?
I would like to say Kevin Holland because he's on my fantasy team. And while he could always fight a third time this year, wouldn't put it past him. He did not get me a lot of points last time, and I would like some more points. I have bet on Kevin this week. I don't like the bet. I did it because you got to support your people. If you don't stand by your people, you're nothing yourself. And Kevin Holland is on a fantasy team, so I will stand by him. I think Mike Malott is going to win that fight. We'll talk about it more in the preview show in general, but a thing that concerned me as I looked into it, aside from the fact that Kevin Holland's performance against Danny Rodriguez was pretty bad. Mike, do you know the last time Kevin Holland beat a fighter in their prime at welterweight? Because, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is in his prime, but he's Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, and it's at middleweight.
At welterweight?
At welterweight.
Jeff Neal on the regional scene before he's in the UFC?
Jeff Neal wasn't even in his prime then. He was pre-prime. So no.
Kevin,
Tim Means was the last time. Tim Means was on a pretty decent little run.
When was that fight?
2021 or 22.
Oh, he was way past his prime.
Nah, he was on a pretty good run at that time. So he wasn't, and then that he then started losing a bunch. But that's he beat Vicente Luque and shit. And you're like, okay, but Luque's cooked. So he hasn't beaten a good welterweight in a while. And Mike Malott's a solid welterweight. I know he had the setback against Neil Magny. I do think it's deeply funny that Kevin Holland thought Mike Malott was Jake Matthews, because in many respects, Mike Malott is the Canadian Jake Matthews. But I don't know. Watching Media Day yesterday, Mike Malott does a ton of confidence, but not arrogance. Feels like he learned from the Magny loss. He's going to come out here. And unless Kevin Holland has his A game, and I don't know the last time I really felt that he was cooking. I think Mike Malott's probably going to win that fight. So I'm betting it, but I don't believe it. I think Cheeto has a pretty decent shot against Amin Zahabi. I have a bet on Cheeto as well. Part of this is almost certainly because I have never respected Amin Zahabi as a fighter. And I just like that. I'm just being honest. I have never believed in him, and credit to him. He has done nothing but make me look stupid, right? He has just won a bunch of fights and proven to be a good fighter. Well, I'm just like, I don't know. What do you do that's good? He is the worst part of TriStar to me, where it's he's pretty good at everything, but he doesn't have anything that stands out. And so he's the negative of the phrase jack of all trades, master of none. And so just I've never been oh, he's a good fighter, but he keeps winning. He is a good fighter. I have always thought Cheeto is limited and has huge flaws. I'm not entirely sure Zahabi is the guy to take advantage of those flaws. The biggest flaw with Cheeto is that he will simply not do anything for minutes, hours at a time, if you'll let him. But it's not like Zahabi is like the highest work rate fighter either. And so if we're in a bit of a staring match, which I think this fight could be, Cheeto is the more dynamic guy. And so I don't hate his chances to just do a little bit more against a guy who is not going to pointedly attack the clear and obvious weakness that Cheeto brings to the cage.
So here's Tim Means' run before the Kevin Holland fight. Laureano Staropoli, the title challenger, right? The ghost of Mike Perry, who's like ready to be out of the UFC. Nicholas Dalby's a good win. And then he was out for
It's a good win.
It's a good win. That's a good win.
That's where I was like, I went and looked. I was like, oh, Nicholas Dalby was a good win. Tim Means still had some juice at that point in time. Cool.
He was also 38 and coming off of a year layoff.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell you he was the best ever even the best version
in his prime. He was way past.
He was in much better reasonable shape than Vicente Luque was when Kevin Holland rolled his ass up, because Vicente Luque is washed.
Okay.
Or Gunnar Nelson, who's washed.
Yeah.
Or Michael Chiesa, who was washed. Or Ponzinibbio, who was washed.
The Gunnar Nelson fight was fun as hell.
Like his wins being Luque, Nelson, Chiesa, Ponzi, Means, Oliveira. He is just putting old dogs out to pasture. And Mike Malott ain't an old dog. That is deeply concerning.
I'm going to say, I mean, Cheeto could definitely win. I know you say this about Cheeto all the time, and I completely agree. If Cheeto like does stuff, he'll win.
Dude, if he does stuff, he'd be so good. Yeah, Cheeto would be such a good fighter if he did stuff.
He just waits till the final 2.5 minutes to actually do stuff. Unless he's fighting Rob Font. Then it's a different story because he knocked Rob down a whole bunch in that fight.
And that was where we all got confused. Oh, maybe Cheeto's going to do. It's so weird because Cheeto reminds me so much of Yoel. Not in like concept, but in tactics, where it's just like, okay. But Yoel was clearly not doing things because he was conserving energy, because he has all the muscles in the world and they require energy. And so he would just not do a lot for 2 rounds. And then the 3rd round, he'd be like, okay, I guess I've made my reads. Now I will pounce. Cheeto is just like not doing anything. It's not like his cardio is a problem. Like he just doesn't do anything. And I don't get it. And hearing his corner plead with him consistently, like, Cheeto, please throw something. Please try, please just attack him. Anything you want to attack him with is fine, but make an aggressive motion with some body part in front of you. Like it is wild to it must be the most frustrating experience in the world to corner Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to do stuff until it's too late, like he typically does. So I think Eamon's going to win. So my answer will be Kevin Holland. For actually some of the reasons he said that, look, he said Mike's a good fighter, fun guy to watch now that he realized that he's not Jake Matthews. Not that Jake Matthews isn't fun to watch, but Mike hasn't beaten really good dudes. And the guys Kevin has lost to are probably a couple levels above Mike, or at least one. So I guess I look at this because, and I know the Daniel Rodriguez fight was real weird, and maybe we just don't understand Daniel Rodriguez is just a guy who gets better with age. Maybe that's just what we're looking at right now at Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know. And you couldn't kill him. You can't kill a guy. It's really tough to beat him. Looking at Holland's current resume right now, if he loses to Mike Malott, is this the worst loss of his career?
Let me pull it back up again because I went to look at Mike Malott, who has not beaten anybody good, which is tough. He's beaten nobody good. He was beating the soul out of Neil Magny for 14 minutes. And then I've truly never seen a fighter collapse that bad. An astonishing cliff that he dove down.
That's crazy. So here are Kevin Holland's UFC.
I've pulled it up.
Yeah. Santos, Allen, Brunson, Vittori, Hamzat, Wonderboy, JDM, MVP, Roman, injury, RDR, Daniel Rodriguez.
Yeah. It's probably, I mean, he's got to be the worst guy he'd ever have lost to. Roman, maybe, but Roman's not a bad fighter. Roman's also middleweight and much bigger than him. I mean, the current worst losses are either Daniel Rodriguez, who I like, but is a top 25-ish guy, and Roman Dolidze, who's a top 15 middleweight. So I guess it's Daniel Rodriguez is the worst loss of his career.
D-Rod, 3 wins in a row. Look at this guy.
Yeah, because the rest of these are just like, okay. Losing to Brendan Allen at the time he lost to Brendan Allen wasn't a very good loss. I'll say that.
Yeah, that was early. I was at that fight.
That was Brendan Allen's UFC debut. Brendan Allen was much worse than he is now. Still was a decent fighter. He's never been a bad fighter, but like that was much worse.
Yeah, Kevin had like no ground game at all.
None whatsoever.
Like zero.
I would say that Mike Malott would be the worst loss of his career.
Interesting question, Jed. Mike and Jed, without looking, guess which regional promotion had the most fighters signed during this year of Dana White's Contender Series?
Well, so I watched, and as I watch, I make a bunch of notes about fighters for the piece I'm writing. Comes out tomorrow, my prospect breakdown. So I don't have that offhand, but anecdotally, there were a lot of Octagon guys got signed. Not Octagon with a K, but Octagon with a C. There weren't many like Combate or, I mean, LFA is historically a strong feeder league.
I think it's probably LFA or CFFC. That's my guess. One of those two.
I'm trying to think. There were a couple LFA people off the top of my head that were there. I'm going to stick with Octagon because that felt like I was writing Octagon a lot. But let us know, Lazy.
Yes, you will. We know you will.
I don't remember that many CFFC people. Maybe it could have been, but I don't remember that many.
There was one card. I only said that because I think it was like all the squash matches seemed to be the CFFC guys. It seemed like we got like 3 in a row on one card.
It is LFA. I didn't realize there were 12 signees. Jeez.
LFA would be my guess every single year.
I mean,
if I didn't watch a single fight, I would guess
it's the
LFA.
primary feeder league.
Yeah. And they have a great relationship with the UFC. So.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph asks, can Jasmine Jasudavicius get a title shot with a win over Manfioro if it's a decision win, or would it have to be a good decision? If Jasmine wins, does she get the winner of Valentina versus Jean?
Hold on one moment, please. Is Erin Blanchfield booked? You know things.
She is.
Who's she booked?
Tracy Cortez at UFC 322.
Oh, that's right. Is Natalia Silva booked?
No. And Natalia has a win over Jasmine, which is why I say the answer is no. And that fight was not really competitive. She kind of kicked her a whole bunch. And
yeah, I don't know what they're going to do because Natalia Silva makes the most sense as the next title challenger. Sure. I haven't heard anything about her weighing in as a backup or sitting cage side. So it might be a thing where they're like, run it back with the Natalia Silva versus the winner of Jazz Fiorot. Run it back. I don't know, but I'll say no. I don't think she's not getting one barring injury or something immediately. She's gonna have to fight one more.
I'll tell you what, her best chance is to do a Lerone Murphy, spitting back elbow, unconscious knockout. That'll get you.
If she gets something mega, yeah, but a decision, even a dominant decision, no.
Yeah,
also,
it needs to be a finish, and a highly real finish.
Incredibly surprised if she got a dominant decision, or honestly even won this fight.
Going back to the fighter of the year conversation, what if Josh Van beats Pants?
Nah.
No? 4-0 title win? He's in the list.
Everybody we've previously talked about loses. Okay.
Is he top 5?
Oh, he'll be in the conversation, might be in the top 5, but like he's just a great year. I'm not here to disrespect his year. It's a sick year, but like it's not Merab's year. It's not Zhang's year. It's not either Islam or Jack's year. Like he is a functional 0%er because either Jack or Islam will be ahead of them. Either one of them, if wins, is ahead of what Van has accomplished, I think.
That's fair.
But I mean, top 5, one of the best years is terrific. That's an awesome thing. And Josh Van, real good shot at making the all violence team. Certainly if he wins. Hard fight. I'm still picking Pants in that one, but it's fun. I like it.
It's very, very fun. I'm going Pants as well because I'm currently at the point with Pants that I'm not picking anybody to beat him.
Yeah.
Until I see somebody actually beat him.
Yep.
So we'll throw this in there. Fun question. Very important, very debatable. In the bigger picture, which is better, Sonic or
It's
Super
not
Mario?
remotely debatable. What in God's name are you talking about? That is one of the more ludicrous questions I've ever heard. It's very obviously Super Mario.
Thank you.
By almost any metric you want to go on. He is far more iconic. I believe Nintendo bought out Sega, and so Sonic is like in Mario shit now, like Mario Party and stuff. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a huge game person.
It's Mario by a long shot.
The Mario games are better than the Sonic games in general. The Sonic games are fun, but the Mario games are better. The Mario games have continued to be better because they keep making them. And then, Sonic doesn't have Smash Brothers. Sonic doesn't have Mario Kart, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. You just asked like, hey, was Luke Rockhold or Anderson Silva a better middleweight? That was the question you just asked. Like, oh yeah, one dude was good and was a champion. The other dude's one of the greatest fighters of all time, had 12 title defenses. What are we talking about here?
I like it. All right. Lazy Bet is all over Contender Series. Which country saw the most signees during this season?
Oh, shit, dude. I mean, I will default to America. I actually have a list. So I have my notes I'm trying to order these dudes. A lot of really good prospects. I have somewhere between 10 and 13 top graded prospects that I think like are very good. And then another like 10 that I think are probably going to be around for quite some time. And then the others are just like, maybe they be okay. Maybe they'll be around for a while. They need some work or they're just card filler. But 46 signees and about half of them are actually worthwhile. It was a good season. As I'm looking just off names at this list, I'm still going to default to United States, but there's a lot of diversity going on here.
Yeah, US is just kind of the safe play. It's like the minus 200, and everybody else is probably plus money. I would say US or Brazil.
I mean, Brazil is the obvious number 2 choice. But I'm looking at it. There were certainly some Brazilian fighters signed. I don't know how many were signed though.
It seemed like there were a lot of Russians.
In first place is Brazil with 12. The U.S. has 10, says Lady. Also, the thing is, there weren't a lot of Russians. There were a couple of Russians.
Really?
Well, but there were a bunch of Eastern Bloc, but they were all like, there was an Uzbekistani and a thing. And so there's a lot of like Edov name, but not that many Russians, I don't believe.
There.
Good for Brazil.
Joseph really wants to know your thoughts on the Conor McGregor 18-month suspension.
I don't know what.
It's so obvious what it is I feel like that.
Buddy, my thoughts about that suspension are the exact same as my thoughts of the CSAC vote.
That's what I thought we'd get more questions about today.
It's just like, yeah, it's unanimous. I mean, there's clear and enormous public pushback against this, but that's not what drives this. And this is a business, and it is what it is. I said at the time when the UFC, I don't believe in drug testing. I've made that very clear, and I will never. And so I don't say this as somebody who cares about drug testing being in the sport whatsoever. I do not. Moving away from a private independent operator to an in-house drug testing thing is prima facie nonsense, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, Jeff Nowitzki's doing it and we don't touch it. Okay. I can't ever believe that because you signed the paychecks. So strange. And even if nothing is untoward, right? Like even if this is all above board and totally legit and fine, which it could be, um, it looks bad. The optics are bad, but optics don't matter in 2025.
Nope.
It simply, that is the thing that is no longer important in the broader world and certainly in the sport of MMA. What matters is the wielding of leverage and power, and they have it. And so Conor McGregor is eligible to fight at the White House if they can come to terms.
Yeah. Thoughts on the CSAC thing? I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Like, no one's surprised, but again,
honest to God, I was a little surprised.
Really?
Not that they would vote for it, but that it was so transparently nonsense.
Yeah. Once
it was so transparently corrupt.
Once they just like randomly like, you know what? We're not waiting till December. Let's do the meeting today. And we already had like backdoor meetings, which I think John Nash or maybe Eric McCracken like posted a screenshot of it. I mean, we knew immediately once they announced the meeting for today, or for yesterday, that was going to happen. And yeah, just reading the slacks of Damon being like, Matt Brown just jumped on here and ripped them a new asshole. And like so many different people came on and like shit all over it. And you saw like for every one positive thing, there was like 15 negative ones saying, don't do this. Don't do this. Nobody wants this. And they're like, it's unanimous. Gavel slam. Crazy.
I was surprised at how transparently corrupt it is.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a lot of high hopes for anything anymore, realistically, but like you could at least put on the dog and pony show and pretend. And there's none of that. Like it is, yeah, we met in some back rooms and a lot of people with a lot of money got the outcome they wanted. That is on its face negative for fighters. And it's just like the purpose of athletic commissions are to serve as the last wall of defense between fighters and promoters. And very clearly that is not what has happened here. And so my honest to God, like major takeaway is like, oh, well, this will just, now we're in this room and this is where we'll live forever. But like, you can't reform this. You can't get new people in the do. You're just like, okay, we have to tear this all down to the studs and start over the next time, whenever that is, be it in 100 years when we decide that, there should be worker protections for combat sports athletes. Yeah, it was really sad and it sucks. I still hold some hope out that the UFC and Turkey will not UFC up boxing, because I think boxing shouldn't have that happen. But it certainly looks like the gears are turning in that direction, and there is not a cogent enough counter stance against it to stand up to him.
Why do you think? I mean, this whole thing has been a plan for, years now, like over a year since Trump made the announcement that he was rerunning. Like this is all in motion. Like, okay, if he gets in, this is what we're going to do. And, some of that's speculation, but it seems very obvious right now. Just look at all the players involved and their relationships to Donald Trump. Nick Khan is Donald Trump's agent, or Ari Emanuel. I think one of them is Donald Trump's manager or agent or something like that. Like there's no way this wasn't going to happen. It's just so blatantly obvious what this was, and no one's going to stop them. No matter what the blowback is, they don't give a shit. And maybe that's what's at the end of the day has made them a successful business to begin with, is that they just don't give a fuck at all. They don't care what the blowback is. They're just going to do what they want to do, and it's going to be successful. So yeah, it's shitty. But again,
there's no PR. There's no optics. It is the world at large, and perhaps it always has been. And, but it is pure exercise, the power you can wield and how you can wield it. And Dana White has never had an issue wielding everything like a cudgel, and that has worked enormously well for him and will continue to do so, because that's especially now that's the type of tactic that works better the more power you have acquired, and he continues to accrue more power. So this will just continue to work.
Yeah, it's insane. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be boxing is going to be the UFC.
I still don't think so, because you're fighting entrenchment. I do think a lot of the reason the UFC was able to have the success it did, for many reasons we've covered it a billion times over, but because it was a nascent sport, because there wasn't stuff there, they could just fill the vacuum with whatever they wanted. Boxing has 200 years of history and 100 plus years of sort of entrenched infrastructure that is a hard machinery to move. This is certainly a big step in the process, but it's still a slog to work through. And so I am unsure that it will work still.
Remember like 3 to 5 years ago, we were like, California is the standard. Like they're fair. They're what every commission should vie to be. And then this all happened. Like we felt if there's like one commission that would stand in the way, it was California. Because Andy Foster always had like a great reputation. And then what happened was they approved Power Slap. And then you're just like, oh, that's it. We're done. Now we know what this really is.
Look, I am looking forward to the news in like a year and a half. Andy Foster is coming on board as the head of something or other at WME, at Endeavor, whatever, because that's what these things are, man. Like it's cynical and bad, but like, yeah, you know, I'm doing the right thing until the price tag comes in. You know, just like everybody's got a price. That price gets met, and you're going to be like, all right, cool. Yeah, maybe this isn't great, but what am I going to stand on principles when I can send my kids to college? So I don't know that that's happened. That is pure speculation, but would not shock me if Andy Foster got a job at Endeavor in the coming years.
Yeah. So there you go. At the end, and the thing to kind of remember with all this too is that they know how to spin shit so great. We're not changing a word to the Ali Act. We're not changing anything. We're just making it better. And that's like one thing to say, but like, it's redonk. But I mean, look, this doesn't mean like, this is just one commission saying like, cool, we're okay with this. We support this movement, so to speak. So it's not like, because this is what some people gathered from this. Well, the Ali Act is set. It's now redone. No, this is just a very big hurdle to get through for this to pass eventually. And that's kind of where it's at right now. So, yep, there you have it. This can't be a real question.
Do you know who Andy Foster's final MMA opponent was? It's a really fun bit of trivia.
Tim Boach.
No.
Just throwing out the most random name that popped into my mind.
No, it's like one of the worst people who's ever set foot in the sport. Amar Suluev, the Russian dude who killed a bunch of people in jail. I think he's dead now because I think he got cancer or something. Wild thing. That was the last dude Andy Foster fought. MMA is a strange sport. Do you guys think prime time Soviet beats Aspinall? I think that question came after the Mario versus Sonic question, which is like, yeah, reasonable.
Which makes it sound even better now that I see it.
No, I do not believe Tim Sylvia beats Tom Aspinall.
Can you imagine what that fight would actually look like? It'd be over in 30 seconds.
I mean, yeah, I can imagine it'd look like, well, one, it'd probably look a lot like the Fedor Sylvia fight, but also just like every Aspinall fight. Oh, he hit him. It's over.
Yep. Tommy A getting ready to come back next week. So I was actually just talking to John Anik, right before we came on here, and we were talking about 321 and some of the storylines, because like, if you compare this event to like the past couple of Abu Dhabi cards, like it's fine, but the cachet isn't there. Like the star power isn't there. And I know Tom is getting more popular by the day, but he just hasn't fought in so effing long that it's almost like
I really like 321. I think
it's
it's a really good card.
I
The
think
pay-per-view section is.
Yeah, the main card is the
rest
top
of it's
3
whatever.
fights are all great. And obviously the Almeida Volkov fight will tell the story of the main event.
I think all 5 fights are really good fights.
Yeah. What is gained from the light heavyweight fight? I'm not really sure at the moment.
Mirzakhanov gets the dub. He's one away. This is Mirzakhanov's chance to move up.
Maybe.
Rakic is the wins. Arnold Allen of light heavyweight. He fights once every 2 years.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Perfect match a couple to shine in because Rakic knows how to get real good these days.
Kleiner Becky's going to be fucking banging.
That's fun. Oh yeah, I mean,
the fight's going to be banging.
Yeah, I mean, we saw
the Turtle is back.
Abu Dhabi. Rebetsky and Orobai beat the bag out of each other. It was
plus this Hamdi Abdul-Wahab and Chris Barnett is probably the funniest fight they booked this year. God. It was incredible that they booked that fight. That fight is them saying this one's for Jed right here.
I thought RDR versus DDP would be for Jed.
They're never going to book that one. It's too good. You can't hold Mike. The thing about dreams is you can't hold them too firmly because they're brittle and they'll shatter. You have to let your dreams go. And then if they love you, they'll come back to you.
Where do you rank the pressure on Tom Aspinall heading into next Saturday in terms of like have to win both short-term and long-term? Now, the good news is heavyweight's bad. So even if Tom loses, even if he has to go win a fight, it'll be one fight, then he's right back in there and he'll probably win. But considering the road and the John Jones circus and all of that, how much pressure is on Tom Aspinall to win next Saturday?
I mean, I don't think there's any more pressure than any champion has to defend a belt. And I don't know that Tom even feels that much pressure. This is because if he lose, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, right? Like, I mean, it all matters in the sense, but like, he's never fighting John. John's never fighting him. And so if he loses, the pressure is on me, Mike. It's not on Tom Aspinall. The pressure's on me because I have to watch that fight and not particularly care about Tom Aspinall. I'm not like a fan of his or whatever. Like, I like him fine. No issues with him. But I need him to win so John won't tweet. Like, that's it. I need John to just shut the fuck up and not tweet. And the only way that happens is if Tom wins. But I don't think Tom cares if John tweets. And so as the pressure is entirely for me and my personal well-being to not have to deal with the grating, self-aggrandizing tweets that will come if Tom loses. But I cannot imagine Tom cares about that because he knows John won't fight him one way or the other. And it's like you said, if he loses to Cyril Gane, that's tough. He'll be fighting again for the belt in 2 minutes, so it's fine.
So you don't feel the pressure is that bad?
The pressure is entirely on me, not on him.
All right. I think it's a high pressure spot, but again,
I think the pressure is higher on Gane, frankly, because like
I think you could seriously make a case. This has to be his last chance to fight for a belt.
But the thing, like, he really needs this to fight for the belt, and it was such a bad. His last 2 performances have been bad.
So, I was yelling for Derek Lewis to get a title shot over.
Yeah,
him.
So that's like I straight up do think Gane has more pressure on him than Aspinall.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. By the way, and maybe I'll eat crow. I think Tom is just going to smoke him.
I don't. Tom's going to tackle him and finish him, much like John did.
Over under 5 minutes.
I will certainly pick a first round finish.
I think this fight will not go more than 2 minutes.
I think Tom on paper looks to be about the worst matchup possible for Gane.
For sure.
Where we're like, the thing that makes Gane's game tick is he's just way more athletic than dudes. And he was so terrified of John that it didn't matter. He didn't move. He just walked backwards, tripped, and died functionally. But like he can bounce around and like thing. Tom is as athletic, if not more. And so as long as Tom isn't like, I intend to knock him out with punches, he can bounce in, tackle his ass, and this fight is over.
It's a big skill to have at your disposal.
Mm-hmm. And Tom is a very smart person. I do not think Tom has the ego to be like, I need to knock this guy out in 60 seconds. I think he'll just be like, I could just tackle him and tap him and that'll be fine.
I'm trying to, on air, confirm some stuff for you personally, Jed. And for your fantasy
RDR.
No. It's not that.
See, you can't hold that dream too tightly. It'll shatter.
Well,
like
look,
a Fabergé egg. You must gently but firmly grasp.
Well, I mean, your guy, Malcolm Wellmaker, has been waiting to fight. He booked an opponent for MSG. His opponent, days after we confirmed that fight was happening, out of the fight. So
what?
Now there are reports.
That's fine. They'll rebook him.
He is rebooked, and just confirmed this via multiple sources. First reported by Nolan King, my good buddy.
Shout out Nolan,
fellow Bostonian. Cody Haddon is the new.
Oh, that's a shame. I like Cody Haddon, but Cody Haddon's about to die. I do like Cody Haddon. Cody Haddon's a kid I thought was a pretty decent prospect, but if he dies, he dies. Let's go, Malcolm. I am holding on to a strong, robust 150 point lead over you in the fantasy league right now. And Wallmaker could juice those numbers up pretty high. Who's drafted Merab?
Did anybody draft him?
Damon has Merab.
It's a good pick.
Real
the rest
chance.
Of this team is not very good.
He already got $175 off him, and now he can get like whatever 300's the max score, which he could theoretically get. That's in play.
Is Tom Aspinall the only champion who can match Merab's 4 defenses in a year or even beat it?
Nope. No one can beat it. I do not believe it is beatable. And Tom can't. I mean, Tom could in principle. Tom faces a much bigger issue, which is there simply are not the bodies to throw at him 4 times in 1 year. Heavyweight, especially heavyweight, because he has already beaten a lot of dudes. So you'd just be running them over and over again. And on paper, he could tie it. It's extremely unlikely that it happens, just because I don't think they're going to be in a rush to be running a Cyril Gane rematch or all the rematches that would necessitate. So I'll say he doesn't, but he could.
I actually think just kind of looking at who could possibly do it. If Josh Van beats Pantoja, I think there's a world he could do it. But flyweight's tough, man.
That's flyweight's the issue at heavyweight is any dude can randomly knock you out. The issue at flyweight is they're all just really good, so it's hard to beat 4 dudes in 1 year at flyweight.
Yeah.
I think Volkanovski is a non-starter. He is old and cannot do it. Topuria simply will never fight 4 times in a year ever, so he can't do it. He will never fight 3 times in a year, probably. Topuria is going to be on that 1 to 2 a year schedule. Welterweight's too hard to think Jack could do it. And Islam won't even fight 4 times more in his whole career, I don't suspect. Khamzat's interesting. I'll say Khamzat is interesting. He appears to have gotten his medical issues behind him, his visa issues behind him. We know that he started out by fighting super a lot. That's how he got over. Khamzat would be my pick of the current champions to do it.
I don't know, man.
I still think it would be hard. I would not pick him to do it. But if I have to pick one, Khamzat's the choice.
Seems like Khamzat.
There's also a lot of middleweight contenders that are lined up right now.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, okay, I'll just run through them. If Khamzat fights I don't know he's not fighting in January, but if he did fight, if he fought in February and defended against Imavov, and then RDR wants to fight all the time, they turn him around, he fights RDR in April, And then like I could see it happening. I don't think it will, but it's not beyond possible.
Yeah. LazyBed was talking about the fighters who were signed off Contender Series. Only 2 heavyweights made the roster. So I think he asked earlier if heavyweight is dead. Heavyweight's been dead for.
They didn't actually have that many heavyweights on the show, which is really nice. Heavyweight has been dead forever, though. To Mike's point,
it's a terrible division.
None of the good prospects were heavyweights. There's like 1 or 2 dudes who were light heavyweights who were like maybe a little interesting. The heavyweight fights were all ass.
What question meat did we miss?
Yeah, I don't know. Questions come in hot.
Danny Rubenstein confirmed today that Sadikov had been slated to face Gamrot in November 8th main event. Is getting a ranked for as I am a comparable rebooking for him.
Is Fresney ranked?
Is he ranked?
He's
at
not.
55? I think it's a good fight. I actually think this fight makes more sense than the Gamrot fight did.
I think the fight makes more sense. It's not a remotely comparable thing because Gamrot's like ranked number 8. Yeah. So he got a chance to be a top 10 fighter. No, he does not.
Yeah. But dude, yeah, that Sadikov Ferez is gonna be sick. That is gonna be very, very fun.
Really fun fight. Lightweight really bangs, man. Lightweight bangs.
It's the best.
Dude, Fresney is so like quality and just doesn't matter because lightweight's lightweight.
Brody wants to tell you that he can't stand Michael Chandler.
Yeah. I concur. See you at the top. Walk on.
Multiple catchphrases. Chandler's without golfing.
What is he, The Rock? Yeah, multiple catchphrases.
What else you got?
The thing that I'm supposed to like Michael Chandler.
You are. His fighting style is perfect for you.
Every part of him is just like a thing I'm supposed to like, and I cannot do it. And it's so wild because like even when he's doing video, like he does like a golf video, I'm like, if literally any other human was doing this, I would support it. But you're doing it, so I'm not in. I think it's deeply funny that he golfs in like 3-inch inseam shorts, like old plum smugglers, like he's in a 1950s ABA basketball game. That's what he's out golfing in. It's incredible. And I hate him, so it doesn't matter.
Chandler wants to do swing rounds so badly, and we're going to try to make it happen at some point. And you're going to have to come along for the ride.
I will bag him up on the course right now. I don't know what his handicap is. My game is incredible at this point.
We need to get him. It should be me and you versus Chandler and a teammate or another fighter. I think that's the matchup.
I haven't been on air to say this. I played the ocean course on Monday, Kiowa, and I shot a 39 on the front, and it should have been a 38. My caddy took the blame for one of them because I stuck an approach shot to 4 feet and put it at exactly where he told me to, and it just stayed on the lip. And he was like, "Yeah, that's my fault. It didn't break. Sorry." I was like, "Cool." Thanks. I could have shot 38 on the front nine of Kiowa. My game is incredible right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I went out and shot a 77.
77. It's a pretty good one.
Ideal.
Pretty good score.
Yep. It was a good day. Shot a 37 on the front, 40 on the back, but the back felt worse than a 40. But
I understand that feeling.
Yeah, I was making putts, and that's really all that mattered. Have you noticed that Mighty Mouse has recently been speaking bad about John? It's been multiple times, and he just comes across as salty that he didn't get as much attention. I haven't really noticed it.
I haven't, but I actually noticed something about Mighty Mouse last night. And so this is a perfect forum. Do you know how many YouTube subscribers he has?
Who? How many?
Take a guess.
175,000.
1.5 million.
What?
Subscribers.
Oh, DJ? Yeah, he's up there. He knows. I will say this about DJ. Not for me. There's some things that, there's some interviews that he does that I will go and watch a little bit of.
No, I think he's bad at it. I get it.
Yeah. Well, we don't learn anything new from a DJ interview. That's kind of the tough part about it is it's the same. It's just the same stuff, just in longer form. Now, I was a little concerned that's what we're going to get with Daniel Cormier, but that's really not. Cormier has done a great job. I actually love the Aljamain Sterling interview.
He's done 3 of them now or whatever. They are not bad. They're too long. I don't think interviews should be an hour long ever, basically. But it's not bad, or like just break it up into segments and release separately. But yes, Cormier much better. I didn't realize DJ had 1.5 million YouTube subscribers. And when I saw that, I was just like, one, objectively the most successful MMA fighter turned content creator by a lot. 2, when people tell me that the UFC is a good promotion, I'm just going to point to that. I'm just going to be like, Dana White, for years on end, told me that he couldn't market this fucking guy. He said he can't market him. He's too small. I can't market him. Motherfucker has more YouTube subscribers than the UFC's YouTube channel. Like, it is. How could you not? Because you couldn't market him doesn't mean he can't be marketed. It means you have one way to do things and has a very limited scope. Demetrius Johnson should have been the biggest star in the goddamn world. And they couldn't, because they could only do one box. They have a hammer, and if you have a hammer, all problems are nails. And they couldn't find a screwdriver to get that dude over in the way that he could have been over. Travesty of promotion.
There's one question I wanted to pull up earlier. Where is it? That I wanted to pull up. Oh, there it is. Scott McCrate. Jed?
Oh, God.
Is Fight Circus back this weekend? 2-day event in Vegas.
Fight Circus is back this weekend. I don't believe you could watch it this weekend unless you're in Vegas.
Our friend Oscar Willis is fighting on that card.
He's commentating and fighting on that card.
Oh,
did you know that?
I didn't know he was commentating on it.
I believe he and Ben are in the booth doing some commentary, and then it's like a beer fight where Oscar has to fight while holding a beer. You know, basically like how you play what's that stupid toss beanbags game and thing? I'm blanking on that for some reason. You got to hold your beer and do it. He's doing that with the fight, I believe, is the terms of that.
Dude. So
but
we have
I don't think you can watch it live because they haven't really done that lately.
They're promoting it on fightcircus.tv. So perhaps you can watch it.
My guess is not, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going. They're doing the tire boxing thing again, which I think is awesome. Oh, it's a really good idea. They're doing a thing called a human pinata. I don't know what that is other than it's explained as a 3-on-1 My Little Pony fight. So my guess is it's 3 people and 1 person in a unicorn outfit, which is frankly incredible. This is an incredible concept. They are innovators. Human cockfighting, the kick only with Alex Caceres and Marcus McGee competing in the kicking only thing, which is great. The one that I think most people know about or have heard about is the dick kicking contest with the 2 Jackass subsidiary guys. Whatever, the big fat guy from Jackass and Poopies from the most recent Jackass. They're bringing back the wheel. You know, we love a wheel.
Yeah, but did you see Charles Bennett's part of the wheel?
I did not realize Charles Bennett's part of the wheel, but okay, boom, love that. And Oscar is doing Siamese beer boxing, which again I believe is he is holding a beer in one hand and boxing in the other.
Yeah.
So
there's that.
I briefly looked at trying to attend. I have some personal stuff going on. Can't manage that at the moment, which is a huge shame. I do love that like Fight Circus has gotten probably worse and that you can't watch it live anymore or whatever, but more people seem to have gravitated to the silliness of it, like real folks, because like they started, you know, Mark Coleman went and did stuff and Matt Brown, and like it's deeply funny to me that this thing that me and like 6 other people were like, hell yeah, has grown to where like real like reasonable people, not rational idiots like myself, are like, I'm kind of in, let's see what happens. I find it delightful and charming.
We'll close here at the super chat. In honor of the ESPN era ending, can you all name the 8 champions that held both the old and new UFC legacy belts?
John Valentina.
Certainly. Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Zhang. I think her first title reign would have been under the old, right?
Yep, Zhang's got to be correct.
So I'm just going to start listing like who are the greatest fighters who've ever lived, because that's the list we're currently compiling right now.
I'm going to guess Brandon Moreno?
Stipe?
Oh, it could be Stipe.
I'm trying.
Cormier, right?
I don't. When did Cormier retire? I mean, Cormier almost certainly, yeah, just because of the old light heavyweight. So yeah, Cormier.
Volk.
I don't think Volk, because 2018. Volk. When did Volk become champion? I think Volk became champion like after that. So I don't think Volk's the answer.
Oh, it's 2018 they switched him?
When did they switch him? That's actually, I don't remember. Let me Google UFC 2019. It was pretty close.
Okay.
Okay,
so it's not Moreno.
So it's 2019. I don't think that's Volk. Maybe it's Volk.
Well, Volk
do you have the answer?
Right?
When I don't. This is you were on.
Or is it 2019?
I'm really bad at prop quiz. It's not my strength. He won it December of 2019. So
Cejudo's got to be one.
Cejudo, probably. Yeah, that seems about right.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sure the chat is chucking out ideas here. Ooh, Izzy's an interesting one.
No, because looking at the Legacy Championship belt says it was January of 2019 when they brought in the new belt. So Volk wouldn't be it because he was December of 2019 when he won it. So
Habib.
That's a really good question. Chesa, do you have the answers?
Yeah, give us the answer, Chesette.
It's a great question. I love the core concept there, frankly, but I just don't know the answer. Potentially
Cejudo.
Rose.
All right, there we go. Cejudo, Nunes, Val, Holloway, Habib, Stipe, Jones, Carla, Rose.
Carla, of course. Rose was one I just pulled. It's like Carla, obviously.
You said 8, right? That's 9.
That is 9. Looking at Rose shouldn't realistically count. Oh no, she should. She won it her second title. I'm pulled up a map now. Val, Amanda for sure. Cejudo.
I think we hit everybody except for Carl and Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we mentioned Max either.
Oh, definitely didn't mention Max. Yeah, that's a fun little fact.
That's a good question. It's a great way to end it.
It is. Cormier didn't hold that. No. Well, Cormier definitely should have. So yes and no, because he would have been champion.
But he lost. He won the belt before, right? And then lost.
He won the belt in 2018, but then he lost it in 2019. So technically, maybe they did give him the new belt to walk out with. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's a world where Cormier has a new belt. Old belt looks way better, and I'll never change my mind on that.
I'm so with you on that.
I like the concept of the Ruby thing. I think that is a fun way to differentiate. Like, oh, multiple title defenses. But the placard, like it just looks bad. So
yeah,
I've never liked the new belt. I think the old belt looks much, much better.
Well, I think we have done enough here. And, frankly, this is Jed and I's, both of us are actually off today. But yeah, we wanted to come on here and do the show, which I didn't even realize till yesterday. I was like, oh, shit.
Neither did I, dude.
We're both off. But
I just assumed I was working because I just did a golf trip. That sucked.
Yeah. Well, we're done this week.
Go Colts.
I don't have my my Patriots mug anywhere. The first place.
The Colts versus Patriots
The
AFC
first
Championship
place
game.
New England Patriots.
We're bringing it back to the early 2000s Colts Pats AFC Championship game incoming.
That's just a better world to live in. Like, we don't want to see John.
It was a happier time.
Yeah.
It was a happier time. I watched the Bills game on Monday
best.
with my buddy Graham, who you've met, who's a diehard Pats fan. Our buddy, we have another buddy who is a diehard Bills fan named Steve. We were all at this golf thing. So it's me, him there. I'm uninvested. Graham hates Steve, well, not hates Steve, but hates the Bills and concept. Steve is dying watching this game. And my personal investment is I need James Cook to not score 9.8 fantasy points. And so the three of us are watching this all with different interests. And it was remarkably fun to watch Steve lose his mind as the Bills are losing. And I'm like, James Cook, get injured. Stop running. James Cook came 5 yards away from doing what I needed him to not do. And then Steve's like, it's fine. We're losing. He's not going to be on the field. I was like, hell yeah. It was a great experience. As one Bills fan was sad and the Patriots fan was happy. And I was like, hell yeah, Graham. Drake May versus Daniel Jones. Indiana Jones, baby. Let's go.
It's just a great time to be a football fan right now. When Bills Nation was so cocky heading into the season, and then the Patriots just slapped them right across the face so hard that they couldn't even beat the Atlanta Falcons. It was just a great time.
Look, the Falcons, Bijan Robinson. I wish I liked the Falcons because they seem like they'd be a fun team to root for this year. Because Bijan Robinson seems awesome.
He's fun, dude. It's an electric.
That dude's really electric. And you know, it just seems like a good time to be a Falcons fan right now. The Falcons got good,
Patriots,
or at least acceptable.
Super Bowl rematch. Well, Patriots Falcons Super Bowl rematch.
They ain't that good.
Fair enough. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. The music's on in the background. I think you can hear me, so we're trying to fix that part of it. But back tomorrow, preview
I can
show.
Hear you. Honestly, it's terrific. You've done great.
UFC Vancouver. We'll get you ready. We'll react. Busy weekend for us. Until then, have a good day, everybody. You guys are wonderful. And yeah, that's all.
Love y'all.